Danae is an installation artist, born in Athens. Her work consists of a large-scale installations, and we have a very large-scale installation here as well in Droog downstairs. And she uses a lot of audio-visual environments. Danae uses various media, ranging from digital and audio technology, video photography, as well as metal and natural materials. Danae engages in contemporary issues such as migration, life, and contemporary cities, the growth of population, the relation to the environment, and as well political tensions worldwide. We will start with a work that is not in the exhibition, but actually it's inspired by the work that is downstairs. As Danae has traveled along 7 divided lines in the world, and during this travel, she took 30,000 photographs. And it's impossible to show that in one installation, but it is possible to show it in a video.
What was important, and you can see in the film, is the life near these divisions, in all these different places. There are many more common things about the people who live on those divided lines than in other places that may be closer geographically to them. But in reality, there's a lot in common in these places. And this globalizing wall, as we call it, is exactly showing this connection, that this is a wall which is being globalizing, and since then, which was 2006, it's become even bigger and taller and more harsh. Even me as a traveler of doing for a whole year these travels, I was shocked with myself that I ended up feeling it's normal.
You started your travel in January 2005 in Cyprus, well, which is the first divided line. Could you tell us something about the start point of this work?
I was invited to participate in an exhibition with two Greek and two Cypriot artists, and the curator said the theme of the exhibition was grey. So my mind went to grey zones, because and the division, the Green Line in Cyprus, which is a division, it's called the Green Line. Well, so this is not just something that's happening in Cyprus, but it happens to many places. So then you put it in a global perspective, in a perspective that connects us in the end. And then the people on those divisions may feel that they're not alone. So what my initial concept was, starting from that point in Cyprus, was to travel and to stand in different divisions around the world and to photograph the one on the other side of those divisions. So formally, the form that I wanted was very specific, that it was really that, to stand in the middle and photograph the one on the other side. Of course, this is something I only managed to do in very few places. Yeah. Basically, traveling to 7 divisions, it's 7 pairs of photographs. So it's 14 photographs that you have in the end to present, one opposite the other. For me, it was important to put myself physically in those places and to stand. And what I wanted is to bring the viewer in the same position that I had been. And this was why I had this very formal concept. But in the end, I think that you see it very clearly in Tijuana. I'm standing on that, with the poles of the train.
Tijuana is the Mexican border.
Mexican and United States border.
Yeah.
So there are places I really actually stood on that. I had traveled, it brings it all together because I did travel in those places and I did photograph both sides of the division. So
incredible, because you traveled to 7 lines, so 7 divided lines, and Cyprus is the starting point, and you continued every month to a new country or division in that case.
Previously, I had traveled on 7 rivers around the world, and I had created this work which is called The River of Life. Mm-hmm. And so I started from there working a little bit with the number 7. And why? Because in a theme, I felt that having 2 or 3 places is not enough. But then, of course, there is a limitation of time and money and budgets and all that. So I felt that 7 is a good number, that you can put something in a wider perspective. And also it's a number that it happens to be my birthday on the 7th of April. Oh. And it's a magical number because, of course, 7 cycles, the week has 7 days, and it's the cycle of the moon. So as things evolve, I could always go back to new divisions now and complete more the project, right? Nothing stops me from that, but that was the initial thought. So which would those divisions be was a part of my research. And while I was researching and speaking with people with more knowledge about geopolitical issues, I happened to meet Yanis Varoufakis, with whom I got some advice, and we started talking about that. And to cut a long story short, we ended up becoming a couple and traveling these places. The first year of our relationship was on divisions. So divisions made us a couple. But also I want to say here, the globalizing wall was his concept. I had not planned at the beginning to use his text in the installation, the photographic installation, but this all evolved. So it actually brought, the collaboration started very organically to happen because he had something to add, and I felt that the text on the floor actually helps not only understand what is happening, but it also gives the viewer the opportunity to get into a rhythm while looking at the work.
It stops you a little bit.
It stops you. It gives you the opportunity to actually get more deeply into what you're looking at. Not because of only the explanation, but because exactly it paces you. The sound installation is from sounds that I recorded during my travels in all these places. So I worked with a sound designer, and we put all those sounds together.
And I think the rhythm also shows that there is a continuation in these dividing lines. That, again, as you said, it's not only in Cyprus that is divided between north and south, with a Turkish occupied side and a Greek side as well, but also that there is this continuity in many other places in the world. Yeah.
And more, I would say, in putting some more light on what you said about, I think that the continuity is really that life continues.
Yeah.
So people really need to feel that, life continues and we live. So this is, and you saw, like in Kashmir, up on the mountains, there's some images of the mountain up in Kashmir, and there I was not able to actually get to the checkpoints that officially they let you go in. The Indian part of Kashmir gave me the pass to go there, but then the army was always stopping me and said, no, you can't go, there's a landslide or this or that. And so they were stopping us all the time without a real explanation. So in the end, I said to my guide, I don't need to go to the checkpoint. I just want to be on the line of control.
Yeah.
And it can be up on the mountain. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
So there I took one of the images on the one side. And then on the other side, you see the nomads who are traders, and they never stop. The lines can't stop them. I mean, those.
Their life continues.
Yeah, so life sort of continues.
Yeah. Because that is indeed also a very important aspect. And you mentioned it at the beginning, that this humanity and this human layer, which is so important in your work, that it's not only about the division between the two countries, but the human life that continues. And I think also in the last work, where we are in the United States and the border of Mexico in Tijuana, you can see it also very powerful how also the life on the Mexican side continues.
Yeah, because you see, the thing is that in reality, what happens is that on the Mexican side, people, of course, they want to go there, and it's also a point of interest, and they're playing a bit also ironically, because on the American side, it's not that people don't want to be there, they are not allowed. So for 5 miles, no one is allowed to approach the border, the fence, throughout the whole continent as it's cut. And you saw the helicopters flying over, so they're in patrol. Yeah. But all this is quite symbolic as well, There's a symbolism, because having the train rails put up as a wall.
You can still look through the wall.
Of course you can look, you can even swim, but it's a symbolic thing telling them,
there is this division.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you see always the children. For me, it was very interesting to watch and touching how all the children are so curious, always to look through the little holes or play with this thing, or to go up high and look and to see what's happening on that other side,
Yeah. Incredible, yeah. And for instance, also where you have the border division between Ethiopia and Eritrea, there it's a minefield, right? Yeah.
It became a minefield, and you see many people, hurt by that. And you see, because I'm the driver we had there, he was from that region, and he was telling us, and this is how we learn so much from the contact, from the stories of the people, that his cousins, his brothers and sisters were like, because the way they put the division was just a line drawn in the desert. It meant nothing to the people, not native people, that made it. But there, basically, they separated families, and they're one family. It's one, the Tigris area. Yeah. They're one family, and they were just divided there.
By a drawn line, almost.
Yes. Yeah. Which doesn't correspond to the reality of their life there, in this particular case,
Then I thank you very much for your talk, and thank you very much for showing the work as well. I think it's a very moving and strong work, especially also in these times, and in this context as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much.